Students of class 12, today we will talk about direct taxes and indirect taxes as introduced by the government in its budget, in time of preparation of budget. We all know it well that government budget has its two parts. One is revenue account, another is capital account. In revenue account, it is within revenue receipts, direct taxes and indirect taxes are the major component of revenue receipts of the government. Now we are to learn what is meant by direct tax and what is indirect tax. Direct tax paid by individuals or different organizations directly to the government. Income generated in one organization and they will pay the tax on their income generated directly to the government. Income earned by an individual and they will pay the tax on the income earned by them directly to the government. Example, income tax, wealth tax, corporate profit tax, land tax, these are directly paid to the government. But indirect taxes are not directly paid to the government. Suppose government introduced tax to a seller and seller is shifting this tax burden to the consumer by raising the price. So actually consumers are paying the tax not directly to the government via the sellers. Their actual taxpayer is consumer, but they are not directly paying it to the government. They are paying it to the seller, from seller government is taking it. So it is indirect tax. If you ask the definition of indirect tax, you can say indirect tax is the difference between what buyers pay for a product and what sellers receive. So actually what the buyers are paying is not being realized by the sellers, because part of that payment goes to government fund. Example, in earlier days different types of indirect taxes were being collected. Sales tax, excise duty, customs duty, different types of indirect taxes in different stages of production and distribution. But nowadays only one nation, one tax formula is being followed, and indirect tax means goods and service tax, GST is being calculated. Now if you asked what is the difference between direct tax and indirect tax? Number one difference, direct taxes are paid by the individuals or by the organizations directly to the government. So it is imposed on individuals or to the organizations. Indirect taxes are being imposed on the value of the goods and services produced. Number one difference. Number two, in case of direct taxes, this tax burden cannot be shifted to the other. If tax burden is imposed on one individual, that individual will pay the entire amount. He cannot shift this tax burden to another. But it is possible in case of indirect taxes. Tax burden can be shifted. Tax is being imposed on the seller, they have to pay the sales tax, but they are actually realizing it from the consumers because they shift the tax burden to the consumers. So shifting of tax burden is possible in case of indirect taxes. And third difference is nature of direct taxes may be progressive, may be regressive, may be proportional. But Indirect taxes are said to be always regressive. Regressive tax means it is not based on level of income. Indirect taxes are paid by some individual whenever they are purchasing a commodity or a service. Whosoever is purchasing the good or the service, that may be a rich man, may be a poor man, same amount of tax is being paid when they are purchasing a commodity. So as because indirect taxes are not based on level of income, so these are always regressive in nature. Now to make it clear, here we have explained numerically what is proportional tax and what is regressive tax and what is progressive tax. See, 3 columns are there. First column is tax base. That means here we will show the level of income. Second column, amount of tax paid. Third column, tax rate. How do we calculate tax rate? It is the ratio of tax and tax base and multiplied by 100. Suppose initially level of income is 100,000, means 1 lakh, and tax paid is 10,000. So tax rate is 10,000 divided by 1 lakh into 100, tax by tax base into 100, 10%. So when level of income is more, suppose 1.5 lakh, 150,000, and tax paid by the individuals 15,000, the tax rate is becoming 15,000 divided by 150,000 into 100, again 10%. So with the increase in level of income, total tax paid by the people also increasing proportionately, so the tax rate remains unchanged, 10%, 10%. If tax rate is unchanged, we say it is proportional taxation. Now, see the next example. Again, consider initially level of income is 100,000, means 1 lakh, tax paid 10,000, so tax rate is 10,000 by 1 lakh into 100, 10%. Level of income raised from 100, at a higher level of income, 150,000, we are observing total tax paid also increased from 10,000 to 12,000. But when we calculate the tax rate, it reveals that tax has been increased but not proportionately increased, less than proportionately. 12,000 by 1.5 lakh into 100. Tax rate is becoming 8%. So tax rate declines from 10% to 8%, although level of income is increasing, total tax collected is increasing, but tax rate is falling. So if with the increase in level of income we observe tax rate is declining, it is called regressive taxation. Now suppose the total tax paid by the individuals increases from 10,000 to 21,000. When level of income increase from 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs, total tax paid increases from 10% to 10,000 to 21,000. So here tax is increasing more than proportionately, and the result is tax rate, that is 21,000 by 150,000 into 100, tax rate will become 14%. So here, as because total tax paid increases more than proportionately with the increase in level of income, tax rate increases from 10% to 4%, higher level of income, and tax rate is also higher, then it is called progressive taxation. Progressive taxation. So if you represent these through a diagram, suppose in horizontal axis we are showing tax base and in vertical axis tax rate, then in case of progressive taxation, when higher tax rate is increasing with increase in level of income, with increase in tax base, if tax rate is increasing, it will be upward moving straight line. Progressive taxation represented by upward moving straight line. And as because in case of regressive taxation, tax rate declines with increase in level of income, it is a downward sloping straight line. And in case of proportional taxation, as because tax rate remains unchanged, it is a line parallel to x-axis. So this is all about the nature of direct taxes, progressive taxes, regressive taxes, and proportional taxes. This much today. Thank you all.